fellow craft nerds. So for our first DIY, we are going to use one very memorable Dollar Tree item. So as you can see here, I am using those floating shelves. Yes, guys, I stocked up on these when these first came out. I was in love with them, and now I have a project to use them with. So what you're seeing here is what I did is those shelves have like a little tiny plastic lip underneath the hangers, like the hanger holes. And I just sanded them down because I wanted these two to fit perfectly together, and with those little lips, they really didn't. So I used just some of that super adhesive found in the super glue section over at Dollar Tree, as well as some hot glue to put these two together. And then I'm just taking some wooden beads. Now these beads I believe I got off Amazon, but you can use the littler beads from Dollar Tree if you want. I just think that these little bit larger beads that I got from Amazon worked much better for being the feet. But you can totally be, way out there and creative and find some other little objects from Dollar Tree as well, if you are definitely trying to keep this a complete Dollar Tree project. Once I get these feet placed on the bottom of my what is going to be just a little tray, I do paint them. I do want them to be matching, so but I'm going to let those sit and dry for a moment before I get the painting going. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put a piece of scrapbook paper down in the middle. Now you can use any kind of paper that you want. You can use any kind of colored paper from Dollar Tree, or just any kind of scrap paper from Hobby Lobby, whatever you prefer to have for your centerpiece on this. I just chose to use some Tim Holtz Halloween paper, which I love, 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 and this was definitely the style that I wanted. So basically all I do here is just take some Mod Podge, and I'm just going to paint a thin coat across the top of this. And I'm not a huge fan of using Mod Podge. Just depends on, I think, the type of project and the surface that I have to basically glue something down on. With this being a plastic surface, I felt the Mod Podge would work better than a glue stick, which if it were anything else, a lot of times I would just use a glue stick. But in this case, this worked perfectly fine. I didn't have any issues with bubbling or anything like that. And I just placed it on down, smoothed it all out. I do go back and kind of put a little bit extra along the edges just to make sure that it sat down. There were some edges that wanted to kind of stick up a little bit. But after that, it was completely fine and it sat perfect. And then, like I said before, I just flipped this over and I just took some of my Waverly chalk paint and ink, and I painted the feet. Now, smarter would have been probably to paint these prior to gluing them on, but I typically don't always work smarter. So that is the final project, guys. I am absolutely in love with this. This is something that can be used year-round in my home. Okay, guys, and on to project number 2. I am super excited about this. This is probably my favorite. You're just going to use one of these candle holders from Dollar Tree, as well as the snow globe that I found, and these LED tea light candles. And also I have one of those little skull heads lying around, also from Dollar Tree. So for this, all I'm doing is, this is the inside piece of the snow globe, which I found these already in the Christmas section at Dollar Tree, and I immediately thought Halloween. Yep, don't judge me, but that's where my mind goes. And I was like, this is going to make an amazing crystal ball, like perfect for that. So all I'm doing here is just, I wanted to paint up all the white. I wanted to get it completely covered because you'll still see this inside of the snow globe or crystal ball, and I didn't want any of the white to show. So chalk paint, I always love using the Waverly chalk paint just because it's a quick drying paint. I do hit these with my heat gun to speed up the process because, well, I'm impatient most times when I'm doing my projects, because I get very excited about seeing the final product. I want it done so I can look at it and be proud of it. So no shame in using the heat gun, y'all. So what I do here is I just flip it over. I'm going to go ahead and paint the inside of this one lid as well, just because I really didn't want any chance of any white popping out in this, but it worked out pretty good. So then I'm just going to dry brush some of that black paint onto the candlestick as well. I didn't want to completely cover it because I actually really like just having the crystal or the see-through candle stick itself. I didn't need it to be completely black. I just liked it to look a little bit dirty and rustic, I guess. So I absolutely loved it looking like that. The next step here is I'm taking that little tea light. Now, these little tea lights my daughter found while we were at Dollar Tree, and I thought these look really cool because they're LED lights. They change color. The package says it does last up to 60 hours when it's on. I don't know if I'm going to leave it on like that, but it definitely worked right from the get-go, and it comes with these little crystal things in there that you can't really see in the package, and I was initially going to use it on here, but it would not fit right, so I didn't use the crystals. But all I did here was just hot glued the tea light down to the center, and then I cut a little hole out of the bottom of the skull and placed it over top of the tea light. But again, I wanted some things around the bottom of the skull. I didn't want it to just look like a skull sitting in the middle of that. So because those little diamond things didn't work, I'm just using some moss. I hate the stuff, I detest it, but it does look really cool once it's all in place, and just makes it look a little bit more creepy, a little more spooky. Now, I will say that after this video, I did go back and add more of the moss just because I didn't think I had enough here. But this did work for the purposes that I wanted it to. And I will also say this too. Now, I will probably keep this piece out most of the year, all year round, and not have the light on because I just think it looks cool. But if you do want to turn the light on, which I will show how it looks, it is a little bit of a hassle to pop that piece back out of the snow globe, and you will probably lose some of your moss and everything, but it's little things. It doesn't bother me too much. So once it's all put back in place, all I'm doing here is just gluing on the globe to the top of my candlestick, and it just turned out to be the coolest little crystal ball piece that I am going to just keep out all year round. I love this thing so much. It is just so my style, so cute. And I did dry brush a little bit of the paint across the globe itself just to give it a little bit more of a dirty feel. But it turned out, I just think, spectacular. Or spooktacular. Okay, guys, and lastly, here is project number 3. This one is super simple. I'm using these Dollar Tree shadow boxes that I found a while back, and one of these clings, window clings from the Halloween section. All I did was just took out the back, emptied out all the little, confetti stars, and I'm just painting the back of this black. Now, I tossed and turned between doing it just a paint, or if I was going to cover it with some scrapbooking paper. Truthfully, guys, you could do whatever you want on this. There is no right or wrong way. So you could put some Halloween scrapbook paper back on this, or just do what I did and just paint it up real quick. And yes, I did hit it with the heat gun just because, like I said before, I'm a little impatient with things drying. But what I do next here is I picked out one of the window clings that I thought would work on this background. This size frame is a little wonky, so I really couldn't use a lot of the ones that I wanted to, but I did like this particular piece, and all I did was just take some Mod Podge. Y'all, I couldn't find my paintbrush for this, so I just used my finger, so whatever, it worked just fine. And then I placed it down in the middle of this, and it smoothed out, and no bubbles, no issues whatsoever, worked out perfect. What I did here was just found one of those old skeletons from Dollar Tree and placed it on inside just to give it that extra appeal. And truthfully, guys, this is how it turned out. It is very, very simple. I think anybody can do it. and you can add any kind of spooky item inside that you would like. And this is everything together. I just, kind of placed them all together and turned on the little light, and I just really thought that all of these pieces were just so cool. I'm so in love with them, and seriously, just look how cool that skull is. I mean, it just, I don't know, you guys, it just made my day. I was so proud of this one, and I think I'm going to make another just to have a matching set. So, but hey guys, thanks so much for sticking around. If you liked the video, I hope you hit that like button, and if you're not already, I hope you please subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little notification bell down at the bottom. That will notify you every time I upload something new, and I hope to see you guys again. Take care.